My name's Lee Roberts, I play for Project 9. Also play for other bands, Euphoria, Outcry, Cordy Theory, Blood Sunset, God, the list goes on. Meeting Steve was probably back in 2013-14. He actually approached me, noticed that I played 8-string, 7-string guitars. He'd heard some of the stuff in Euphoria in the past because, again, he was mates with other members of the band who hadn't even told me about him. So he approached me and basically said, like, I believe your music is really heavy from obviously what I've heard and what I've been told about. I believe you want to go take it the next step up. And then from there we then discussed obviously what I'd used and obviously the possibilities of what he would like to bring. But when we actually met each other in person, which was, again, I was still doing Euphoria, we were looking for new 8-string guitars to try out. I'd never had any experience with actually going seeing Steve and actually having the chance to play with one of his instruments. And it was only, I won't say quite recent, but within the past year we've been getting on like really good terms with obviously promoting a lot of his instruments, testing out the 8 strings, some 9 strings as well, which then led me to getting this bad boy. This is actually a one-off. This is I call it the custom Drako Goliath 9. This was an actual working project. He built one previous in the past that I played, but at the time, because obviously he'd done them before but he hadn't really gone out to pushing them that far, it was like a work in progress still. So this was like a working project. Originally only come with 2 active bass pickups, which then gave me the whole idea of playing around with it since it had been my first custom, especially for the projects and whatever bands I've been playing with. And basically this one I'm trying to advance into what would be known as a hybrid guitar. I'd want the possibilities of playing like guitar bass like material, well, depending on whatever style of music I want to play, which again, this instrument is amazing for doing most styles, especially because the extended scale length and for the possibilities because of obviously the tone that it can carry through. But also I want to be able to play bass elements. My point of view of it is the lower the strings you go, the different division you're going to go. So you're going to go into a bass division, again, which was something that I wouldn't mind getting into. Right, so this is a purple Hart neck based on the guitar. Again, the scale length is 28.5. It feels solid. Like, I've played other extended scale length like guitars and the necks just, they don't feel right. There's just something about them. And in my personal opinion, I find that they don't feel as sturdy. When you're playing with guitars at this kind of scale, you want to be able to have a really strong piece of wood that would help keep just a number of things. For example, like obviously be able to keep the tension strong, be able to help carry the note. And I've played ones that have got similar size, length and necks, but they've not been, the wood quality hasn't been as good as obviously the one that I have on this custom model here. Right, this is a poplar bill body. The reason why I like this one, this is quite an unusual one for me. I like it because it's one of these, the way how I've had it cut out is so I can reach every bloody fret on this guitar. What's the point in having all these strings if you can't reach them? Also gives me a chance as well within, obviously, without giving too much away, the Project 9. I do a lot of different experiments regarding the strings near the pickups, but it also gives me a chance as well to be able to really flick down to toggle switch volume and tone ports. So then obviously when I'm switching from a guitar to a bass, I've got the speed and the chance to do it without really messing up. Regardless if I've got any effects on, I can just flick it dead quick with this hand, flick it back, ready to do whatever. And for this part, it's quite interesting because with the newer range ones that I've seen Steve building, they're not as big. They mainly go up to like the 12th fret. This one actually goes up to the 9th. And it just adds to that uniqueness about it. Like, it's kind of like having a Doom-esque guitar. For what I'm going to bring, you play with a 9-string and you're going to play with heavy metal, and you'll notice that the groove out at the bottom That's so then every time I've had, again, another generic shape of guitar, you go to put it in between your legs like this, tends to either slide, go that way, fall off. At least with this, I've got it right in there, doesn't move. So then if I'm doing double tapping, or say for instance I'm doing a very, very complex like strumming pattern, I'm not having to worry about the body slowly digging out this way. It just helps. And again, when you're playing the dirty stuff like I'm going to be playing, you're going to need a decent shaped guitar, and that's why with this one, this is why I love the Drako Custom Goliath 9. The weight on this guitar is absolutely fantastic. Like, you'd think of this because it's a monster. Usually with guitars with smallish bodies, like regarding this part with a big neck, you think there's a lot of balance issues. Now again, with the woods exactly that I've just described about, it naturally in a way it like balances it out. The weight for it though, I've had serious injuries in the past, and before obviously I got this model, I almost ended up losing everything, and I had to sell a lot of guitars up due to weight issues, like being able to pick it up, keep it on my legs for so long, especially if I've got a strap. Again, with balance issues, because obviously when I'd done my back in, obviously I'd struggled trying to make sure that I could keep it well balanced. And with this one, with the woods that he's been using on this model, the guitar is just so light, there's no strain whatsoever. Like, it looks like it's really, like it is a thick body, but you think with a wood like this, you'd think it'd be quite heavy. It's not. It's almost nothing. The fretboard on this is a Brazilian cherry wood. Playability on it is absolutely fantastic. It's like, you think for a big neck like this, you think it'd be like a super wizard type of neck. Just being able to do pull-offs on it, like scale runs, just solo licks in general, you don't get any of that like stickiness to it without the board being sticky. Obviously you don't get that like heavy traction, like pulling back on your finger. It just feels absolutely perfect. The reason why I now have chosen 9 strings, if anyone's seen any of my work before, I've always been one of these. I've always gone that one step further. So first learning guitar, fair enough, it's an acoustic, standard electric, whatever you want to do. But I went straight from an acoustic straight to a 7, and it was only towards halfway doing a 7, I then started playing 6 strings, which then I realised I shot myself in the foot, because it's obviously nice to go back and play on something that's got them kind of strings I'd already advanced up. So obviously doing a bit of euphoricide, a bit of decorded theory, a bit of abstract. I then progressed on to 8 strings, which then 8 strings I loved it, because obviously you praise your gods, and obviously who then gods are, obviously you realise that they're on the 8 strings, they're making them sound brilliant, and obviously they're doing what they're doing. But then I come across the 9 string through Steve. It's unreal. And the fact that the reason with this one, again being a hybrid, why do you need a bass player as well? I can do it all through one instrument. Obviously I've got bass strings on it and guitar strings. It's like combining the 2 instruments, like 2 instrument players, putting them together. That's what I want out of this guitar, and so far I've had no issues. I've always wanted to dive into that, and it's only getting heavier. The reason why I wanted to do like a hybrid, like a bass and guitar, was because of the fact that for the projects that I'm doing, and I do a lot of home recordings now rather than doing like group band sessions. I want to be able to dive into both aspects without having to change an instrument. So keep it true, keep it to my one model, because again, love the woods. I'd hate to get the woods for a bass, Christ, it'd kill me. But with this, it's like I wanted to be able to experiment, because I've not seen many people do that kind of thing. So again, for what I've done with the bridge element, the bridge side of things, the pickup, lace pickups by far have just, they're the ones that have been able to go through the ice and get deeper and deeper with tone, be able to get through with obviously keeping a very, very low tune note. Like just being able to keep the sustain on them notes for a lot longer without using active pickups, like battery active power pickups. These are completely passive, supposed to be one of the highest powered ones that we could find. This one though, which is the Lace Death Bar, this is designed for 9 and 10 string guitars. Now again, I'm on a 9, And I find this just absolutely amazing. Like, there's so many possibilities with this that you can do that I've not even dove into yet. That's what's going to make obviously my projects, my style of music more unique. So I've got a lot of ideas for this in the future. It's really hard to see on camera, but these are like almost wafer thin. This is basically, they're set like a soap bar. However though, they're not thick and built like a soap bar, it's just a bar with two bloody big magnet things inside, strips that go straight across, and just the tone in general on one of these is absolutely fantastic. The bass pickups, this is an Artec bass active pickup. When I switch to this pickup, you want to be worried about what you do, because this will just go so low, especially with this low 9. It's basically going in bass division there, and I want it where it's that low, it makes everything rumble, just shake in general. My plans for the future, I've got a little lad due in January, so obviously with the projects that have been going on, I'm taking some time out to sort, obviously with my fiance and my little boy. And then when things start to get obviously onto a really good level where we're well balanced it, I then can work on Project 9 again, obviously helping through with possibly doing some new Euphoricide material, and then there are some other projects that are still in talks.